Hello guys, NautoAisDx here, and I want to give more thoughts on Marvel versus Capcom Infinite. So before that, I want to do my correction on my previous one, the follow-up, which the rumor are true. One, I said Marvel versus Capcom 3 Infinite. That's not really the case. I made a mistake. You could say it's the fourth series of the Marvel versus game, but it's like most people did say, including Miles 9 to 3. It's a reboot of the franchise because a lot of speculation is going to be the Capcom is fine, but the Marvel side, they're probably going to focus on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And a lot of people will talk about it. I'll probably give my thoughts to about it. Even so, that I'm more a DC than a Marvel, but like I can understand a bit of the history, like what's going on. Not so much because I'm not really like a comic expert, but I want to give my thoughts about it. But that's a different story. So again, I already noticed one, they didn't extend the trailer on the ESPN when they rebroadcast the Capcom Pro Cup 2016. And of course, well, for the Marvel side, as expected, first Iron Man and Captain America, the Civil War, the two main characters if you think about Avengers, and Captain Marvel, one of the newer ones. So right there already, three characters, and none of them, at least, is an X-Men representative. Because normally when you introduce like a Marvel fighting game, you kind of tend to introduce a X-Men at least like from the get-go. Like in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Wolverine was already been announced to be in the game. Like, well, there you go. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, boom, Wolverine. There you go. End of story. Not this time, because when you think of X-Men, you think of Wolverine. And when you think of a Marvel fighting game, you think of Wolverine. Because Wolverine has been in every versus game. Since X-Men Children of the Atom, Marvel Superhero, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superhero vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So in Infinite, this is going to be the first time we're not going to see this guy for a long time. Like, I mean, he was a mainstay in the versus games. So, I don't know. Again, if the rumor is true that they're only putting Avengers or Marvel because that's what they can do, yeah, that's gonna be a real shame. But again, we'll see what happens because the game's not gonna be out. It's not the best part here that I wanna really share is I saw the PSX interview with them. There were even other article talking about the game. But the most important thing is they said was they are taking the time for the game. What it means is if they have to delay the game, they'll delay it. So it also means, hopefully, no offense to the FGC, that the game was catered to everyone who's a fan of the series. Not just trying to focus on the tournament player or release it early so it can be in EVO 2017. I'm just saying that because that's what happened with Street Fighter V. Even so, Ono did say it, like, hey, this was the content at launch. We're going to add it in the long run. But I guess it just wasn't acceptable. I can agree with that. Again, yeah. So they're learning their lesson from Street Fighter V. That's a good thing. So yeah, take the time that you need, Capcom. If you have to delay for 2018, I know I'm just speaking for myself. Do it. I think some people will probably agree with that. They rather have a full game rather than an incomplete starter game. And then in the long run, you add all this new content. Granted, it's free, minus the hard drive space, but hey, it's subjective. Now, another best part about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is the producer. Okay, I don't know who the producer is. I'm just gonna guess is Yoshinori Ono because he's the one that's talking about it. So I don't know yet. Maybe it is him. I gotta go check Wikipedia. I know Wikipedia. But the best part here is that it's not Nitsuma who's producing the game. So I don't know the guy's first name. Apologize, but Nitsuma basically was known for the producer for Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, which is a good game. And then he was in charge of the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 series and the vanilla and the ultimate version. So, why is this sort of a good thing? They said, oh man, why not this guy? I mean, he did a good job on Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Well, that's sort of subjective in my opinion. But the thing is, a lot of people, when some of the people didn't, the thing that kind of weird with Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is that a lot of the elements and the mechanic was based on Tatsunoko versus Capcom. That's what it is. One is the buttons. I guess not a lot of people like the weird ABC button and the special button because that's what Tatsunoko vs. Capcom is. Rather than you have your light and your light punch it, your light, medium, heavy punches, and your kicks, it's attack A, B, or C, and then a special button. So, kind of made it weird, different. And of course, you gotta keep in mind also that Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was the first ever console exclusive fighting game. It's not an arcade. There is no Marvel vs. Capcom 3 arcade version. There's a Tatsunoko versus Capcom, but there was no Marvel versus Capcom. It's only the home console. And of course, now it's on not only last gen, but it's also this current gen. But in my opinion, the reason why I don't think the guy was good, like he's not a good person to do it, is a lot of the decision what comes down to was the characters. So a lot of the characters it was a little bit shoddy. Some people didn't really agree with the characters, but again, hey, not everyone's gonna be happy with the roster. I didn't expect something that big. So Nitsuma basically, excuse me, tried his best to please both like the Marvel fan, Capcom fan, and the FGC. And it was like one of the reasons is why put in Zero, why not put in Mega Man? And then there's some weird reasons that like he prefers Zero over Mega Man, which is I think everybody knows Capcom because they couldn't really praise or they don't really give props to Keiji, so why should they give prop to something that he got involved, which is Mega Man? Kind of sucky, but it is what it is. So they put in Zero. And then another one that he was personal favorite, which I'm surprised is Phil Spencer. No, not Phil Spencer, excuse me. That's the boss from Xbox. Spencer, I forget his first name. Spencer from Bionic Commando. He's based on that 3D game. That horrible 3D game doesn't really work right. And he said, personally, he liked the design, so he chose that one, which, okay, kind of weird, but again, Bionic Commando, I don't know where the direction that game went to, so, but whatever. So, and then, excuse me. And then there were some pointers that he couldn't put in certain characters because, it was too difficult. And so, like, you can't sort of trust the guy what he's saying. Like, an example is, he didn't put in Nemesis because we can't put in Nemesis because it was too difficult, it's too big. Yet in Ultimate they put him in. Ghost Rider. We could have put Ghost Rider because it's gonna be difficult because we have to put him in the bike, and then they just found, and apparently he found out. I didn't know that Ghost Rider doesn't need to be always in the bike. So it's kind of like the research for Marvel is kind of weak for him. And what else? Yeah, sometimes. Well, I don't know about the costume. One of the things he did was to please someone. We'll do some swap skin. So like for Zero, there was a premium skin with X. Some people didn't like that. There was one with John Talbane, but it's really a skin for Atamaratsu. This yellow cheetah from Battle Circuit, which is Felicia's skin, and etc. etc. So some people wasn't too happy about it, especially with X. Even so, in Mega Man 6, X actually had Zero Saber, but that's a different story. But yeah, so there's some of the problems there. The decision, he tried his best, but a lot of people weren't happy. I mean, so one of the actually, you can't say that it's his fault, was the Senkaku Bazaar. There were some people we wanted Yukimura or Matsumune Date from Senkaku Bazaar to be in the game, but apparently the producer of that game said he didn't want it. I don't know why, because there was a art system work version of the game, a fighting game, but again, I guess it didn't do good. So yeah, that's what a former market jerks creates fan basically said. Yeah, the producer didn't want it, so there was no Senkaku Bazaar representative. And then for the Marvel side, he did try his best, but of course there was some little bit problem. Like they wanted Venom, they wouldn't allow him, and there was even Silver Surfer at one point to be in it. That guy got the boot, and because what happened was, oh, we thought it was Iceman only Silver, and it's harder because we have to decide it with the surfboard again. Kind of like the lack of resource in the Marvel side. Like he didn't know that Ghost Rider can go off the bike. He thought, oh, it's always in the bike. He thought Quicksilver is only on the surfboard. He doesn't leave the surfboard, which is kind of false. And he just said, oh, Quick or Silver Surfer is going to be just a silver version of Iceman. Again, there's a lot of the problem there. So, I mean, he did try his best, but again, a lot of people didn't really like his approach. And of course, a little bit of a political controversy, I do apologize, was Nitsuma refused to address about how come there wasn't a lot of black Marvel superhero in the game. He noticed, like some people noticed that. Nitsuma didn't even want to answer it. They were trying to basically let Seth Killian, props to him what he said. And the gist of it was, Seth Killian just said, hey, we just never thought of the character before. I think this just makes more sense because we think because of the current movie that's happening, they put all those characters in. But another guy from Marvel basically made a better reason, and I don't know why they just didn't say it. I mean, it sort of makes sense. People might not agree, but it makes sense. Like, the guy said, well, if we put this character, then we have to remove certain characters. So, kind of like, why put in Black Panther if you have Wolverine? Why have Blade if you have Deadpool? And remember, both of them have movies. Wolverine had a movie. Deadpool has a movie. Why put in Luke Cage if you have the Hulk? So, yeah, you got Storm there, but Storm is an original character, so there's no, like, where can we find a Marvel version of Storm? Nothing. And, of course, Iron Man, or not, War Machine, he was in Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2, and he's a modified, even though it's a modified version of Iron Man, he has a little bit of his moveset. I mean, yeah, the reason why War Machine was in Marvel vs. Capcom, anyway, they wanted a new character, but they didn't put a lot of characters in that version. So they just say, yeah, well, why not just remove Iron Man and put in War Machine, and he has a different moveset, or different power. He has a little bit different moveset than Iron Man, but, it may be subjective, but yeah. So, yeah, that's the reason why in Marvel vs. Capcom, the lack of black Marvel superhero. To some extent, it wasn't because of being, oh, did you prefer this one than that one? Well, because the movie coming out, it's just that there's not really point. It's kind of like think of Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U with all the Fire Emblem swordsmen. Do you really need a lot of swordsmen? Yeah. So yeah, the thing with Nitsuma, yeah, I mean, it depends. In my opinion, I think it's a good move that he's not involved with Infinte. People might say no. So again, it's subjective. And then so the next one is, it's a 2-2. I cannot agree with the 2-2 and the no assist. The reason is to keep it simple because I'm not gonna lie to you, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and 3. When you have 3 characters, it tends to get convoluted. Unless you're really good with the game, it gets messy. Some of the people don't know what to do. They can't find their characters. And that's the reason why. They're trying to make it simplified, to make it easy. So they're changing a lot of things. It was on an article. So I think that's a good move in my opinion. The problem also with 3 versus 3 is that it takes too long. And the timer tends to run out. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 kind of showed it. I don't know about Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So they are probably, I'm guessing, they could tone down a bit the Marvel engine, but still have that Marvel engine that people like, the chain combo. No assist because again it gets messy. Kind of understand that. So the last thing about this one is people were afraid was, oh my god, the gem system. It's Street Fighter Cross Tekken all over again with the gem system. Well, Not so much. I mean, yeah, that kind of went a little bit too far. But the reason they put the gem system for Tekken, Street Fighter Cross Tekken is it's for the casual gamer, for the beginner to have a fighting chance against, like, anyone else. But I'll probably talk about it in a different V-blog. But well, of course, if you don't remember, Marvel Superhero had the Infinity Gems, and each would have a different gem, has special moves. But that's Marvel Superhero. But a lot of people have said the rumor is that the six Infinity Gems are gonna act like grooves. So if you don't know what grooves are, they're from Capcom versus SNK 2, which you pick one out of the six one based. Well, in that one, Capcom versus SNK 2, it was based on King of Fighters, Street Fighter. But this one's gonna be a little bit different. It's all, of course, all Marvel, but it's gonna be each stone's gonna be different. So I'll have to see what's going on. Again, like I said, the game's not gonna be out for a long time. They have said it that they're aiming for a late 2017, and they have said it that this time they are taking their time finishing the game rather trying to rush it like they did with Street Fighter versus or Street Fighter 5. So because that one is in the Capcom Pro Tour, so will this one be? I kind of doubt it, but it's probably going to be a tournament. So they're not so much concerned about Evo, hopefully. So we'll never know. We'll just have to see in the long run because, like I said, they are starting developing the game, but it'll be there for, they're still developing for a while. So